Hi, I'm Dr. Miyata. It's nice to see you. I'd like to share with you an old folk tale from China. I'm going to be using props so you see how I can use this method. The story is called The Nguama. There once was an old woman who was worried about her close friend because she had been sick. So she decided to make her friend some delicious rice cakes, and she set out in the afternoon to deliver them to her friend. It was a long way, and she had to walk and walk and walk. As she was just passing a small bamboo grove, she heard a terrible sound. Flip, flop, flip, flop, flip, flop. There was only one creature in all of the countryside that could make such a sound. The terrible Nguama. The creature had the body of a bull and horns, but a face of a dragon. It had great fangs that it liked to tear you to pieces with. It had paws with long claws, but the most strange feature of all was its feet that were enormous and made this very unique flip-flop sound. The woman stood trembling with fear, and it pushed its way out of the bamboo grove and it growled at her. Then it sniffed and sniffed again. "What is that smell?" said the terrible Nguama. "Oh, it is my delicious rice cakes," said the old woman. "I want them. Give them to me," said the terrible Nguama. I cannot," said the old woman. They are for my friend. She has been sick. I am so sorry." "Then I will come to your home tonight, and I will tear you to pieces." And the Nguama disappeared into the bamboo. Well, the woman was distraught. She knew that whatever the Nguama said he was going to do, he always did. She sank to her knees and she began to cry. People heard her and they came over. They asked the poor woman what was wrong, and she told them the story. Oh, they shook their heads. Oh, whatever the Nguama says he's going to do, he will do. You must be ready to die. Well, she cried harder. One of the people in the crowd happened to be a manure peddler. She could smell it. "What is that?" she said as he held it out before her. "It is fresh manure," said the peddler. "Perhaps if you take this manure as a gift and smear it all over your door, when the Nguama comes and touches it, he will go away." "Oh," said the woman, "thank you." And she accepted the gift. The people all wished her well and left her. Well, she did not think manure was going to help her against a terrible creature like that, and she began to cry again. Along came another peddler, and this peddler was selling fish. "Please, what is wrong?" asked the peddler, and she told him the story. "Oh," he said, "yes, then you will die surely. The Nguama always does what he says. But perhaps this can help. I will give you my 2 poisoned fish. If the Nguama smears the manure on his hand and he gets inside, he will not like the smell. He will not eat you when he smells like manure, so he will put his hand in the water to clean himself, and my poisonous fish will bite him." "Ah," said the old woman, "thank you," and she accepted the gift. The peddler laughed and wished her well, but she started to cry all the harder. How could poisonous fish and manure help her against a terrible Nguama? Along came another peddler, and this peddler was selling eggs. "What is wrong? What is wrong?" asked the peddler, and she told him the whole story. "Ah," he said, "yes, then you are surely going to die. Please, take 2 of my eggs," he said. "What will I do with eggs?" she asked. "Put them into the ashes of your fire, and after the Nguama is bitten by the poisonous fish, he will want to smear ashes to protect himself from the poison." "Ah," she said, "thank you for the eggs," and she very carefully put them inside her pocket. The peddler wished her well, and off he went. Well, the woman was beside herself. She knew these things were not going to help her, and she sat there weeping one more time. Along came another peddler. He was a millstone maker. He had enormous stones. "What is wrong?" he asked the old woman, and she told him the story. "Please, please," he said, "take my millstone. You can tie it over your bed, and if he gets close to you, you cut the rope, and it will fall on him." "Ah," she said, "thank you. I hope it works." "I will help you," he said. And with the peddler, the old woman took all of her things, and the millstone peddler carried the millstone all the way back to her house for her. He tied the millstone over her bed and put the rope close by. Just as they said, she smeared the manure on the door. She set the poisonous fish by the fire, and she laid the 2 eggs inside the fire and started it up so that they would get hot. And then she set herself into bed, covered herself up, and trembled. She could not sleep. Soon she heard the night watchman walking through the village, calling out each hour, the 2nd hour, the 3rd hour, and still she waited. Then she heard it, flip-flop, flip-flop. She pulled the covers as high as she could, peeking out to see if it was him, but she knew, of course, it was. And then she heard the voice. "I am here. I have come for you. I'm going to rip you to pieces." And he put his paws on the door. "Ah, what is this? Ah, this terrible smell." And he pushed the door open. He came inside. "I cannot eat you when I smell this terrible smell." Ah! And he saw the pot of water. He put his paws into the water to wash them, and the fish bit his fingertips. This burns, I am bleeding," he said. I need ash. And he reached his terrible paws into the fire. Well, the eggs have gotten so hot when he touched them, they both exploded into his face. "I cannot see, said the terrible Ngwama, and he stumbled towards her. Where are you? "I'm here," said the old woman, trembling with fear. And just as the Ngwama was about to tear her to pieces, she cut the rope, and the millstone fell directly on the Ngwama's head. It flattened him to the floor, and he was quite dead. The old woman was so pleased. She was now safe. Also, the skin and bones of an Ngwama were worth a great deal of money. It terrorized the countryside for years, so she sold it. And she lived very well and took care of her friend. I hope you enjoyed that story. I want to point out to you that there were other objects I could have used, props, in the story. There was also a snake peddler. And there was also a needle seller. I decided I wanted the story a little shorter to hold my audience's attention. And also it was easier to learn the story that way. I had to change it a little the way I told it so it made sense, but it worked out fine in the end. So when you are working on your story, think about how long you want it to be, and you can edit the story too. You're the storyteller. You can tell it whatever way you want. If you want to see this particular story in print, so you can see how it actually was written out, Google Ngwama, and you will find some movies of it. Good luck with your telling.